Hello everybody, my name is Valentine and welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into some seriously heavy stuff, the top 10 worst events in history. We're talking about the moments that shook the world, changed the course of humanity, and left a permanent mark on our collective memory. From devastating pandemics to man-made atrocities, we'll be exploring the events that tested the limits of human resilience and forced us to confront the darkest aspects of our nature. Get ready to be shocked, saddened, and maybe even a little bit terrified. But hey, at least there will be some crazy footage along the way, right? Let's do this. Alright guys, buckle up because we're starting with a real doozy, the Black Death. Imagine a world without antibiotics, where even a small cut could mean a slow and painful death. That was the reality for people in the 14th century, when the bubonic plague, a disease spread by fleas on rats, tore through Europe and Asia. It was absolute chaos. Cities were turned into ghost towns, mass graves overflowed, and people were dropping dead in the streets. Can you imagine the terror? The plague wiped out an estimated 75 to 200 million people. That's like wiping out the entire population of the United States 3 times over. The Black Death was a turning point in history. It reshaped societies, economies, and even our understanding of medicine. It's a stark reminder of just how vulnerable we are to the forces of nature. Next up is World War II, a conflict so massive and devastating that it's hard to wrap your head around. From 1939 to 1945, the world was engulfed in a war that pitted nation against nation, ideology against ideology. Over 60 countries and 100 million soldiers were involved, making it the deadliest conflict in human history. Imagine entire cities reduced to rubble by relentless bombing raids, millions of innocent civilians caught in the crossfire, and the horrors of the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews were systematically murdered. World War II pushed humanity to its absolute breaking point. It forced us to confront the depths of human cruelty and the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred and aggression. But amidst the darkness, there were also stories of incredible bravery, resilience, and the unwavering human spirit that refused to be extinguished. On December 26, 2004, a massive earthquake off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia, triggered a series of monstrous waves that ripped across the Indian Ocean. This wasn't just a big wave, guys. We're talking walls of water over 100 feet high smashing into coastal communities in 14 countries. It was pure chaos and destruction. Entire villages were wiped off the map in seconds. People were swept away from their families, never to be seen again. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was a brutal reminder of the sheer raw power of nature and how quickly it can turn against us. Over 230,000 people lost their lives that day, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable grief and destruction. But even in the face of such tragedy, we saw incredible acts of courage, compassion, and international aid pouring in to help those affected. In 1986, the world watched in horror as a routine safety test at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine went horribly wrong. The reactor exploded, releasing a plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere. This wasn't just a fire, guys. This was a nuclear disaster, the likes of which the world had never seen. The immediate aftermath was devastating. Firefighters, completely unprepared for the radiation, rushed in to contain the blaze, many sacrificing their lives. The nearby city of Pripyat, once a bustling community, became a ghost town, abandoned and frozen in time. The long-term effects of the Chernobyl disaster are still being felt today. Thousands have suffered from radiation-related illnesses, and the area surrounding the plant remains heavily contaminated. Chernobyl serves as a chilling reminder of the potential dangers of nuclear power and the importance of safety and responsibility. September 11, 2001, a date forever etched in the memory of millions. On that clear Tuesday morning, the world watched in disbelief as terrorists hijacked 4 planes, crashing 2 into the World Trade Center towers in New York City. The images are unforgettable. The towers engulfed in flames, people leaping from windows to escape the inferno, and the towers collapsing, sending shockwaves through the city. Another plane hit the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. military, and the 4th crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back against the hijackers. The 9/11 attacks claimed nearly 3,000 lives and left a nation reeling. The world mourned with the United States, united in grief and outrage. This act of terror changed the course of history, shaping global politics, security measures, and our understanding of the threat of terrorism. The Holocaust, a word that sends chills down your spine. It stands as a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty and the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred and intolerance. From 1933 to 1945, Nazi Germany, fueled by a twisted ideology of racial purity, systematically persecuted and murdered 6 million Jews. Imagine being ripped from your home, separated from your loved ones, and sent to concentration camps where you were subjected to unimaginable horrors, starvation, torture, and mass extermination. The Holocaust wasn't just about numbers. It was about the millions of individual lives cut short, the families torn apart, and the unimaginable suffering inflicted on innocent people. It's a dark chapter in human history that serves as a stark warning against prejudice, discrimination, and the dangers of silence in the face of evil. Imagine a world gripped by a deadly virus, spreading like wildfire across continents, leaving a trail of death and despair. That was the grim reality during the 1918 influenza pandemic, also known as the Spanish flu. This wasn't just a bad flu season, guys. This was a global health crisis unlike anything the world had ever seen. It infected an estimated 500 million people. That's 1/3 of the world's population at the time. What made this flu so terrifying was that it didn't just target the very young and elderly like most flus do. It ravaged healthy young adults, often killing them within hours or days of showing symptoms. Hospitals were overwhelmed, mass graves were dug, and entire cities were placed under quarantine. The Spanish flu was a stark reminder of the indiscriminate nature of disease and the fragility of life in the face of a global pandemic. August 6, 1945, a date that marked a turning point in human history. On that day, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan, instantly killing an estimated 80,000 people and vaporizing everything within a mile radius. 3 days later, another atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, claiming the lives of at least 40,000 more. The devastation caused by these bombs was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Entire cities were reduced to rubble. The air was thick with radiation, and the shadows of those vaporized were burned into the ground, eerie reminders of the blast. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings ushered in the terrifying reality of the atomic age, a time when humanity possessed the power to wipe itself out. The bombing sparked a global debate about the ethics of nuclear weapons and the devastating consequences of their use. It's a conversation that continues to this day. In 1994, the world watched in horror as a small East African nation descended into madness. Over the course of just 100 days, an estimated 800,000 people were brutally slaughtered in the Rwandan genocide. Fueled by decades of ethnic tensions between the Hutu and Tutsi populations, the genocide saw neighbors turning on neighbors, friends killing friends, and even families turning against each other. The brutality was unimaginable. Machete attacks, mass executions, and sexual violence were rampant. The international community, paralyzed by inaction and political maneuvering, failed to intervene in any significant way, leaving the Rwandan people to fend for themselves. The Rwandan genocide stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred, the devastating consequences of ethnic divisions, and the urgent need for international intervention in the face of genocide. Between 1958 and 1962, China experienced one of the deadliest famines in human history. The Great Chinese Famine, a direct result of disastrous agricultural policies implemented by the Chinese government, led to the deaths of an estimated 30 to 45 million people. Imagine entire villages starving to death, families driven to desperate measures to survive, and children dying in their parents' arms. The famine was a man-made disaster of epic proportions, a chilling reminder of the devastating consequences of government policies gone wrong. The Chinese government's attempts to collectivize agriculture led to widespread crop failures, grain shortages, and mass starvation. The famine left an enduring scar on China, shaping its social fabric and serving as a cautionary tale about the importance of sound agricultural practices and the human cost of political missteps. Wow, guys, that was heavy. We just went through some of the most tragic and devastating events in human history. It's enough to make you want to crawl into a bunker and hide, right? But here's the thing. As much as we need to learn from these events and work to prevent them from happening again, we also need to remember the resilience of the human spirit. Even in the darkest of times, there were always stories of courage, compassion, and hope. So let's use these stories to inspire us to create a better future, one where these kinds of tragedies are relegated to the history books. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more thought-provoking content. Peace out.